Alright gentlemen, this is the second video of Wilfred Owen's poetry. This video is going to be all about the poem Anthem for Doomed Youth, which will be our next one for study. Similar to the first video, I will read the poem out loud. I will then give you an overview and then we'll get into a deeper annotation. So, here's the reading for you. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns. Only the stuttering rifles' rapid rattle can patter out their hasty horizons. No mockeries is now for them, no prayers nor bells, nor any voice of mourning, save the choirs, the shrill, demented choirs of wailing shells, and bugles calling for them from sad shires. What candles may be held to speed them all? Not in the hands of boys, but in their eyes shall shine the holy glimmers of goodbyes. The pallor of girls' brows shall be their fall, their flowers the tenderness of patient minds, and each slow dusk the drawing down of blinds. Alright, so the first thing we will actually look at is the title itself. We look at the title, and the word anthem is usually positive. Okay, you've got the national anthem, you've got anthems are a positive thing, they're a sign of celebration. Then, as we read on, we've got the idea of doomed. Doomed has these negative connotations. And then youth is young people. We know that. Youth is meant to be positive, but when it's combined with doomed, it's negative. Okay? It's not right for these young people to be doomed. Alright, so here's just some points about the poem. It's written in the form of a sonnet using iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter is a common form. It means there are 5 syllables or 5 syllable pairings, 5 iambs per line. An iamb is da-da, da-da, da-da. So, unstressed and stressed syllables put together. So the poem looks at the death of soldiers. It looks at the burial procedure on the battlefield and how there is really none. It also looks at the effect of those at home. Themes include death on the battlefield, the futility of war, and the waste of human life that comes about through war. So we've got the first 3 lines here that we're going to look at. The poem itself opens with a rhetorical question. He compares the way that the soldiers are dying to the way that cattle die. He also questions the amount of respect given to the soldiers. So what passing bells? Bells is a form of the mourning process that would normally occur, and what is actually happening for these soldiers that die as if they were cows. We then look at this monstrous anger of the guns. That's what they receive. No bells, they get the guns' anger. And this making the guns angry is a form of personification, which highlights the lack of ceremony. Rifle's rapid rattle, again, is alliteration that adds to the oral nature of the poem. We're moving on to the next part of this stanza, and we've got horizons, okay? I think, what the hell are horizons? They're prayers, okay? Now, if we see this orangey colour, it's meant to be orange, and it turned out more brown. All those words are religious terms, okay? Oh no, sorry. The first thing I've got here is the repetition of the negative words, which are in blue. Alright, and they show the futility of war itself and the situation that these soldiers are in. And as I was just said, these browny, orangey words are all religious words. Okay? They show the lack of attention the soldier receives upon passing. It emphasises the acknowledgement that they miss out on. Okay? So if they were back home and they died, they would get a ceremony, they would get choirs, they would get prayers, they would get bells. On the battlefield, they received none of that, and that's the point that Owen is making here. We have this idea of a demented choir is the guns. Again, okay? Again, the guns are personified as a demented choir. Their wailing shells are what's happening here. That noise creates a choir, but it's not a normal choir of harmonious singing. It's demented in its nature. We've got another example of personification with the bugles calling for them from sad shires. Bugles don't actually call, alright? And it highlights the effect of the death has on those at home. And that's what this line does as a whole. It brings that idea of the home front in, okay? So in the first stanza, we're just looking at the battlefield and what happens at the battlefield. Then moving forward, it goes to what's happening at the home front in the second stanza, and that's what he looks at. That's how he arranges the two stanzas. So moving forward to this stanza again, these words here are religious words. They reference again the lack of ritual and the lack of ceremony that these soldiers get. So the candles work as a metaphor, both of the candles they would have received at home, but they contrast to what's happened. So they represent the metaphor, the glow of flares and explosions. Now that next line, not in the hands of boys but in their eyes, refers to the soldiers that would go to the houses of the men that had passed away, and these men that were delivering the news often didn't know what to say, so it wasn't, nothing was written down for them. So the look on their face said enough, or their presence said enough to the families, so they knew what had happened there. Alright, so this is the last part of the poem, and we got, the parlour of girls' brows shall be their pall, their flowers the tenderness of patient minds, and each slow dusk a drawing down of blinds. So what is a pall? It's the sheet placed over the coffin. Soldiers do not receive this, they only get the sadness of their lovers. The metaphor is used here. So their lovers, the girls' brows, being scrunched up, the brow being the area across the eyes, obviously, being scrunched up and being affected by their death. He uses another metaphor here with the flowers. There's no flowers for them on the battlefield. There's no time for that because machine guns are going off. Instead, their flowers are the memories that people back home have of them. Again, it's a metaphor. So a metaphor is used again here for the morning practice. Morning, not as in wake up, good morning. Morning as in something bad has happened. We mourn the situation. So the traditional morning practice is if there's been a death in the family, the blinds of the house would be closed so outside people would know that was going on. Obviously, the soldiers don't have a house on the battlefield, so this doesn't occur. They had the sun going down and the battle being over for the day. Also in this line, the fact that it's happening at dusk. Dusk is a reference to death in most literary things, so that's where it comes from. So in Monday's lesson, you would have watched this video, you would have annotated your poem, and you'll come in with some questions and some points for discussion. Okay, I really want everyone to be really involved in this discussion and be able to contribute something about Anthem for Doomed Youth. Thank you.